Alrighty guys, hello and welcome back to the show. So today we got a 4v forecast coming your way. 4v forecast. Wow, it sounds like I'm forecasting the weather or something. I'm not actually a weatherman. Let's get back on topic before I lose my train of thought again. Anyway, 4v4 going down on the map Vermeer. I'm gonna go with that. 20 by 20 map. We've got team 1 over on the left-hand side of the map, team 2 on the right-hand side of the map. Let's go ahead and introduce our players as they're getting started here. Starting in the north, we have Striker, or Comrade Striker, as his player name is. He's got one of those weird renaming mods, but he's going UEF as is customary for him, going first land, and seems to be queuing up a lot of land for what I would call a very Navy-heavy map, but, you know, we'll see how that works out for him. Striker, been a long-time supporter of the channel and actually supplied this replay to me. Moving on, we've got one of my fellow casters, Derp. If y'all haven't checked out his channel, please do. Yeah, it does a lot of really memey and funny content. But he's going UEF, going first air, and was thinking about going second land, but decided not to build that land factory and instead go for some mexes and power generators. Very standard. Moving to the south, we have got, as I get my mini-map fixed, we've got Peanuts, who's going Seraphim, opening first land. Last but not least, for team number 1, we have Banana Smoothie, which makes me want a banana smoothie now, and he's going Aeon, opening first land, second air. Shifting to team number 2, starting in the south, we have Terminator 619. Who is going Cybran, opening first air. To his north, sharing the island, we have another Cybran, Erectatron, and he's going first land, second air, getting some power set up right now. Hydro pretty far away on this map, so you do have to go for some early P-gens. Shifting to the other island, we have another Cybran player, and he's actually on his way to the middle right now. We have Just Awesome, and last but not least, yet another Cybran, Insane, or Insane. This team just wanted to piss me off by making their names almost words and then shifting letters around. But he's going Cybran, opening first land, second air, if I didn't say that already. So let's talk about points of contest on this map. These middle islands, pretty safe for the players to take. But these side islands, we can expect to see some contest going on there. We've actually got Insane sending an engineer who is undoubtedly insane to this island to get a land factory set up. And on the southern side, we also have Banana Smoothie trying to get his island set up. Bomber out from Terminator, and we'll check in on that in just a second. But the final area of contention is this middle island. Lots of neutral buildings here, protected by some point defense and some flak, but some good reclaim there, should you get a hold of it. Speaking of reclaim, total reclaim on the map, we've got about 10,000 before everybody started sucking things up. So I think it starts out, if I remember correctly, it's something in the neighborhood of like 13 or 14,000 total on this map. But talking about that bomber, that engineer for Banana Smoothie has had his last Banana Smoothie, unfortunately. And that bomber is going on a civilian killing spree here, as Terminator's scout has identified several vulnerable engineers. No interceptors on the way yet. Banana Smoothie does have them in his base. He could send them. Could save the lives of his poor civilians. Or he could let them die, you know. It's his choice. Maybe he didn't want to share his banana smoothies. Speaking of which, if you guys are interested on how to make a banana smoothie, completely off topic, but a great way to do it, as interceptors get scrambled now to take out that bomber. Took out 2 engineers though, so you can call that a pretty good bombing run. Anyway, on to more important things. How to make a banana smoothie. Biggest thing is to use like pretty yellow bananas. Like bananas that you would look at and say probably, okay, they're a little bit too yellow for me to eat just straight up. Those are fantastic. Then you do it with milk, throw a little honey. I like to do some vanilla protein powder in there. You can also do some vanilla extract. I've had really good success with that. Makes it kind of like a banana pudding kind of flavor. It's really good. Throw that all in the blender. It makes a beautiful breakfast. You get some good protein. You get some good potassium, some good antioxidants, you know, all that good stuff. I actually got a gunship out from Terminator as well. That's going to take out another engineer there for Banana Smoothie. who is struggling right now, I think, in this early game. He's walked his commander, actually, to this island to go and set it up. And then, meanwhile, in the middle, we have our first comm-on-comm action here between Just Awesome, and then that's going to be Derp. And they're battling over this reclaim. Just Awesome prioritizing some of these rocks. There are a couple of naval wrecks, if I remember correctly. Yep, we got a couple naval wrecks down here. These guys going to be properly laying into each other, as Derp either forgot his commander was here or is just more interested in throwing as much damage into Just Awesome as possible. And grabs that rock for a little bit of extra reclaim. These are Tech 2 point defense in this base, though, so gonna need something a little bit heavier or quite a few of the light artillery. And up the north, I told you these islands are gonna be contested, as Striker's walked his commander all the way over, dropping some engineers off to give him a little bit of support. I imagine that's going to turn into a land factory there. Yep, a couple of different land factories getting thrown down. With his comm here, though, it's going to be really hard, nigh impossible for Insane to hold on to this particular island with the current tech level I think that he has. So Striker really swinging for the fences, or you might say striking for the fences. Haha! Got him. And we got a gun upgrade on the way for Derp, so Derp definitely looking to prioritize this middle island. He's the only commander here, though, so he probably needs a little bit of extra firepower. It's Just Awesome and Insane. Well, actually, Insane seems to be walking his commander back instead of focusing on this. He could also be going gun damage and range to get rid of these Oblivion turrets, get himself a little bit of extra range, overcharge them down, you know, all that lovely stuff. And for this map, Navy's going to be pretty important. So we got some naval factories on the way, and actually Torpedo now on the way for Terminator. Naval factories up. Striker actually already trying to force Insane out of the Navy as well. Striker playing relentlessly this game. He said, I'm going to take your island, and then I'm going to force you out of the Navy too, you little bitch. Get off of my property. I went full Southern there for a little bit. Maybe I should just make this the Southern cast, and we just talk with a nice little deep South accent. Although I don't know, maybe this is a little bit more Tennessee-like. I'm sure Sarge can get down in the comments and correct me that I'm wrong, that my Tennessee accent is absolutely terrible. Alright, that's enough embarrassing myself for a little bit. I can't do that accent very well. Anyway, as the game is continuing, this game is full share. It's played on the 4v4 matchmaker. And for those of y'all that don't like full share games, send me no share games. I'm more than happy to cast no share games, but these are the games that I get sent. And if I don't get games sent directly to me, then these are most of the games that I find are on full share. So if you don't want to see full share on either my channel or other people's channels, go play some damn no share games and send them to me. I'm more than happy to cast them. You can send them to me directly on Discord. I'll have my handle down in the description below. Or you can submit them to the FAF Replays to Cast channel, which is on a part of the Forged Alliance Forever Discord server. And somebody should pick them up. If it's not myself, it should be one of the other casters that checks there. This bomber's now being scrambled from Insane. Striker getting an AA gun, I would imagine, down. No real threat to his commander, but definitely very irritating. We got some mobile AA as well coming out. He's going to lose an engineer as that railgun comes up and is promptly destroyed. Too many bombers in the area. Needs to get some more of the mobile anti-air variety, but this is really good. He's forcing Insane to use all of his resources to just defend and or take something that should have already been his. And Insane locked out of the Navy for the time being. Has the ability to get back into it now, as these frigates have kind of moved off of the coast, but definitely doing a good job of that. And back on the full share, no share thing, as Derp has now sacrificed some of his HP, but it's getting some of this reclaim down. Back to the full share, no share thing. I don't really have a preference for full share or no share. I know Willow branded me as like as somebody who's a big fan of no share over full share. And he and I were just talking about it. I don't think he meant it in a malicious fashion. Actually, I know for a fact he didn't mean it in any sort of malicious fashion, but I really just like playing the game, whether it's full share or no share. I think both game modes have have good merits to them, and they do change the way that the game is played. Some people like the changes, some people don't. Others, like me, don't really care. So those are my thoughts on full share versus no share. Is I have no preference. I just like playing this game, and I will play it either way. But good pressure now coming in from Erectotron as we've got 10 frigates. We do have some subs here out from Peanuts. Subs don't have great DPS. The only thing going for them is the frigates can't shoot back. So these frigates could get into Peanuts' naval production and really grab him by the balls and swing him upside down with it. Whoa, where'd that come from? Now we got Tech 2 Air out from Insane as well, so Corsair's being deployed. Corsair is a little bit more tanky in the air, so can hold up to the Tech 1 AA being wielded by both the archers as well as the frigates a little bit better. And Erectotron actually not going in for Peanuts' balls. He's actually going after Derp's titanium testicles as his commander is still hanging out here in the middle of the island. You have torpedo bombers, though, out from Peanuts. But there are not quite enough torpedo bombers to really make a difference here. And while Tech 1 frigates don't have the best AA, if you have enough of them, they can overwhelm a single torpedo bomber. As you can see, that bomber going to get killed on that pass. Another one comes up to take the plate. And that, with the combination of the Tech 1 Navy out from Peanuts, is going to force Erectotron to rethink his life decisions here. And potentially actually reshift his Navy to go after Peanuts a little bit more. Erectotron, poor naval, or poor air engage there. He's going to lose a lot of his interceptors. And those interceptors were providing some pretty needed cover now that multiple torpedo bombers are starting to come out here from Peanuts. That's going to force Erectotron into a bloody and long retreat. Or I'm not quite sure how many of these ships are actually going to make it out alive. Actually, a few of them. I'll take a few losses on the way out, but about half of his navy survives there, so not the end of the world. And moving up to this side, we actually have Insane has pushed in with a gun comm, forced Striker off of that island. Striker actually took some pretty good damage there, but it does mean that Insane will be able to take this island back. So Striker going for all of the reclaim that he can. Meanwhile, in the middle, Derp actually setting up shop here. He's got most of the mexes. We do have, this is going to be Tech 2 actually on Just Awesome, so Derp definitely in a more commanding position with his commander. Pun 100% intended. Definitely could just like kind of rush down these Cerberus turrets as long as he has overcharge, but needs to start thinking about either overcharging or some target priorities here because he's taking a lot of damage. Texas allergies have now caught up with me, so I'm having to clear my throat and I'm sniffling a little bit, so I'm trying to mute my mic before that happens, but if you hear that, I do apologize. Might also sound a little bit more nasally than usual. As Valiant class destroyer from Striker now once again trying to reassert dominance here on this middle island. I don't think he's going to be able to take it back, but he'll definitely make Insane pay an insane amount of money, cash, to get it. And actually in the middle here, Just Awesome might have overstepped a little bit. That's going to be three gunships now being brought in. Tech 1 AA getting scrambled here. And with the point defense here, Derp not able to commit, I think, as hard as he wants to here, considering Just Awesome does not have a gun upgrade. But the Stingers are coming back in now. He's going to lose one of them pretty quick. Interceptors also being brought in. But I don't think that Just Awesome has quite enough in the tank as far as point defense goes. He's trying to get Tech 1 point defense up. Derp only needs a couple more shots into the commander. Jesus, Derp, please attack the commander. Thank you. As for a second there, Derp started attacking the point defense, and I was like, no! Don't do that! Kill the commander! That's what everybody wants to see. We want to see commanders dead. We want to see blood. We're a very bloodthirsty group of people. So that means that this base, formerly belonging to Just Awesome, has now been inherited by Insane, who has really got his hands full here as Striker's setting up like a proper Trade Federation style blockade around this island. We got some Valiant. We got more Valiant class destroyers coming in and a cruiser now starting to harass and take out some of these Tech 2 mexes. And in the middle, stuff formerly belonging to Just Awesome has been inherited by Erectatron, who's also managing the Navy, and that leaves Derp here in the middle as the only commander. And with Overcharge, you can see him starting to knock down these Tech 1 PD. He basically owns this island now. Derp is essentially saying to Erectatron, he's saying, look at me. I am commander of the island now. Yeah, that's what he's saying. As he goes for a Tech 2 upgrade as well. And Erectatron once again making a push on the naval side. Tech 2 is up on the Navy for both him as well as Terminator. And as far as Peanuts, so Peanuts does have Tech 2 Navy up as well. We see our first couple of destroyers getting into the thick of things, and that's going to force Erectatron to back off as this is all T1 here. He doesn't have any destroyers just yet to be able to trade blows. On the bottom, though, we do have a Siren-class cruiser. So, no destroyer down here, actually electing to go for the cruiser instead. Still good anti-naval capabilities with that deck gun. Not quite as strong as the destroyer, but I think it's only missing out on like 10 DPS or something like that. It's a little bit weaker, but still definitely punches pretty hard, unlike the Aeon and the Seraphim, which have no deck gun, and the Governor, which is essentially just a frigate. But where the Governor really shines is where you're seeing it here, as Insane has lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mexes on his main island, and is really in a bad position to be able to formulate any sort of response. He does have Tech 2 Air, but that HQ is going down. It's unfortunately in range of the Valiant. So what he needs to do is he needs to pick up his Tech 2 HQ and move it somewhere else. Answers in the comments below if you get that reference. Or maybe it's get behind Bikini Bottom and push it somewhere else to get away from the Alaskan bullworm. Maybe I'm mixing up my SpongeBob episodes. I also gave a spoiler as to where that's from, so you're welcome. And that is a strat actually out from Insane that I missed earlier, but 4 kills on it. He doesn't have Tech 3 Air though, I didn't think. Oh, he does. It's back here. Okay. So, alright, Tech 2 HQ, not a huge deal because he does have Tech 3. And that strat with... How many kills on its thing? Oh, this strat has nothing yet, but it is moving in. Going in for the kill here on some of Derp's Tech 2 mexes. See if he does the attack ground. Now he's just going to do a direct pass. I think you can get 2 of the Tech 2 mexes on this map there. Derp scrambling interceptors to respond, however. That's going to be a lot of dead engineers if he drops it there. He doesn't drop it there, though. Sad day. Where is this strat going? Okay, so it's going here. It must not have had enough of a reload time between there and the next target. Definitely could have gone after those engineers though. That would have been a money shot right there. Would have been thumbnail cash money shot, baby. Another Tech 2 mechs going down. More veterancy on the way for that strat bomber as it's just about to tick over for its first rank of veterancy. And able to pretty effectively outrun all these interceptors as well as they lead it on a merry chase around the map. And actually Derp's saving grace here might be if it flies over this cruiser, which it is definitely going to get in range here. And that cruiser in combination with the interceptors getting into range, gonna deal closing blow to that strat, but not before it leaves without saying a final goodbye. And we've got another strat out, this time for Terminator. And that strat has 27 kills on it. Okay, so that strat's been doing its thing for a while here, probably while we were focused on the other strats. But it is up to 1 rank of veterancy. Several mechs is killed. Just looking at the map, it looks like at least 3, potentially 4 if it killed that one as well. And these ASF out from Terminator as well, making sure that it has good coverage. Going after the power grid now, going to take out one of the Tech 2 power generators. It's going to get another mech. This is a disastrous strat run for team number 2, or for team 1, as they are getting absolutely pulverized by strats right now. Is there no Tech 3 air on the field for team 1? It doesn't look like there's any Tech 3 air. We've got it out right now for Peanuts. The strat's just kind of hovering up here. It's kind of out of targets. It's kind of killed all the Tech 2 mexes. As that ASF needs to get going from Peanuts. As we have another naval engagement happening in the pond there for Erectatron. Man, the southern team, or the southern side for Team 1 has just been absolutely destroyed by this strat. Saving grace, though, is while the strat's been doing its thing down here, and the Navy has been able to make some inroads here, Stryker has just absolutely walked all over Insane up here. Insane's lost all of his core mexes. He's huddled in one little corner of his island, just praying for the sweet, sweet death that only a commander nuclear bomb can bring. I did not really appreciate what you did to me. Yeah, man, I can't say very many people would appreciate that in your shoes, but thank you for being very professional and nice about it. Most people, I'm pretty sure, would just use like a handful of words, maybe 2 at the minimum to 4. I'm thinking, let you guys get creative as to what those 2 and 4 words would potentially be. This strat with now 4 ranks of veterancy is still on the prowl. So Peanuts did not move his ASF to intercept, which is unfortunate there for team number 1. As now Derp is going to start losing his Tech 2 mexes. If Team 2 wins, it is definitely on the back of this strat. It's going to get another one and a bunch of engineers. 68 kills on that strat. 4 ranks of veterancy, almost fully vetted. Does fly over some of Stryker's interceptors. Actually not able to outrun them all the way. Nah, it's going to take it down. Hero strat finally eliminated. When you fly too close to the sun, you're going to get a little burned. But air control solidly in Terminator's hands right now. Naval control, I would say, is solidly in Peanuts and Stryker's hands. Although Navy costs a lot of mass. And guess what? Team 1 just had almost all of their mass destroyed. Or a lot of their upgraded mixes. We got another strat out. And these Tech 2 mexes that Derp just finished rebuilding are now going to get killed again. And Peanuts still with the ASF down here. You can fix this, buddy. You can fix this. It doesn't... These mexes don't have to die in vain. They had kids. They grew up from Tech 1 mexes to be Tech 2 mexes. They were full of dreams, man. Now they're just getting brutally murdered. Actually, maybe some of them were just built outright as Tech 2 mexes, so definitely some genetic modification happening there in the for the mass extractors. If y'all don't know what I'm talking about, whenever a daddy mass extractor loves a mommy mass extractor, they make a baby mass extractor. Guess we got another one that goes down. And then that baby mass extractor grows up and becomes a Tech 3 mass extractor, all of his own. And then he might find another mommy mass extractor or daddy mass extractor. Bet y'all, whenever you clicked into this cast, didn't think that you were going to be getting the birds and the bees talk on mass extractors, were you? But I gotta tell you, whenever I loaded up this cast, I did not think I was going to be giving that talk either, so we're both surprised. As Peanuts with what I would say is the superior navy here. Only a couple of destroyers here for Terminator, and a couple of Sirens as well, but Sirens don't have the best HP. And Peanuts definitely in a commanding position here in the Navy. Needs to take control here and start pushing what advantage they do have, as Terminator has now walked across the pond with a stealth upgrade and has reclaimed this island. And all is not lost yet, I guess, for Terminator, as Erectatron has retasked a lot of his Navy to go and help his buddy out. Taking out the last destroyer. Really the only thing left are these Governors, which do not fare very well in naval combat. But the Governors are going to be able to make it away. Erectatron deciding not to give chase. He needed his blood in other places, I guess. As the naval conflict down on the southern side of the map continues brewing. And this is cheeky there from Stryker, as he gets a cruiser just in range there for the Tech 2 HQ there for Erectatron. He's probably going to lose that cruiser as a result, but definitely a good effort there from him. But now we got Tech 1 Navy there from Terminator making its way into the soft underbelly there for Banana Smoothie, and Banana Smoothie's Tech 2 HQ now under threat, as torpedo bombers are scrambled, but, well, torpedo bomber, singular torpedo bomber, is scrambled, and we have a blaze on the field as well. Therefore, Banana Smoothie. So Peanuts and Smoothie doing what they can with the ingredients they've been offered. That's actually also not a bad thing to add to a banana smoothie while we're on the topic, is peanuts or peanut butter. It's pretty good. Peanuts can get a little gritty. Or a little gritty, I think is the best way to do it. So if you have like creamy peanut butter, that's a really, really good thing to add to your banana smoothie as well. We're just learning so much in this cast. We're learning about banana smoothies. We're learning how baby mass extractors are made. This is great. But Peanuts now pushing forward, as I think he should have done earlier. This Peanuts definitely needed to be a little bit larger and maybe a little bit stiffer. And that's given Terminator time to reinforce some of his forces here. He's got a couple of destroyers, and Erectatron's Navy is actually back here. We do have our first, at least the first one I've seen, Tech 3 on the field. So, and Stryker actually going all of his eggs in one basket here with just his Tech 3 Naval HQ. Erectatron still chasing this Navy around. As we now have Erectatron getting into the Tech 3 air game as well. Very little Tech 3 air in comparison there from Peanuts. And Banana Smoothie has now lost his Tech 2 HQ, although he will lose the frigates as a result. So I guess it's not a total loss Team 1 does get some reclaim. That was like a 5-vet frigate. That's nuts. All right. Naval engagement still, I think, favoring Peanuts a little bit, although, well, actually, I take that back. Reclaim is getting left there for Erectotron to scoop up, so that's not ideal. And Erectotron now looking to put some pressure here on Striker, as we have a battle cruiser that has been surrounded by a wolf pack of destroyers, subs, and frigates. Cruisers. Oh my. That's going to be a battle cruiser down for Striker. That is not... I don't think that's what you want to see out of your first battle cruiser, but having Tech 3 Navy. Does anybody else have Tech 3 Navy? Alright, so we do have Tech 3 Navy. I think just now finished on Erectotron. He's gone to work on a Galaxy battleship. Tech 3... no Tech 3 there for Terminator. Insane is not in the Navy, I don't think. I don't think he has the... didn't have the resources for it. We do have Tech 3 out for Peanuts now. Well, Peanuts with almost all of his naval factories on pause, as I think he's trying to rebuild his economy from the absolute pulverization that it got earlier, sitting only at 76 mass per tick here at 30 minutes into the game. Not ideal. I think it all could have been prevented with the ASFs that he had, as Banana Smoothie's blender is now getting thrown into the dumpster by the Cybran here. Core mass under threat. Commander's back here actually working on an upgrade. I think this is his second gun upgrade. Yeah, so that's going to be gun range. I mean, maybe he's going to try and get in there and start overcharging commanders, but not commanders, but boats. But that seems like a very, very risky move. Although I'm not quite sure what other option he has here. As all that reclaim that we saw up there earlier getting scooped up by Erectotron. And Banana Smoothie, I think, is just going to go out here like a warrior. Do everything he can. That is going to be our next ejection from the game. Really looking forward to talking more about Banana Smoothies, but you know, I'm not in control of this game. I'm gonna say the audience is probably split about 50-50. Some of y'all are like, shut the fuck up, and others of you are like, this is the funniest thing I've ever heard. But Destroyer's now coming in from Peanuts, who's finally grown a pair with his boats. And that's going to be some good reclaim for him there. A lot of that on the beach from those destroyers. As the torpedo bombers come in there from Erectotron. Try and level the playing field here. Tech 3 Air also out for Derp now. So Team 1 now looking like they're in a position to contest air. I don't know about win it, but at least contest it. Let's do a quick count here. So Peanuts has got 25 ASF on the field. Derp, I think, only has like 9 or 10. He's got 13. Terminator has got 16 on the field. Okay, not as many as I thought for Terminator. And then Erectotron working with 46. So definitely still favoring team number 2. Although I think Terminator has kind of shut down a lot of his... What the hell is this? Derp has airlifted his commander to Insane's Island, while Striker is Riptide spamming. Alright, Derp playing balls to the wall here. He's got the Tech 3 engineering suites, getting a shield generator up. The Navy here in the middle should be going the way of Team 1 here, as we got 2 battle cruisers out and flanked by a lot of frigates here. Battleship will slug it out pretty well with the battle cruisers. But I think that the radar jamming is causing him some issues. Oh, maybe not. All right. I stand mistaken. As torpedo bomber flight coming in there from Erectotron. Going after the cruisers first. It's going to be the first one down. Second one, I think, soon to follow there third one actually hanging back. I didn't see the third one a little bit ago. Derp with his Air Force in the near vicinity. Peanuts is across the map, though. So I don't think this is a fight that Derp wants to take. Unless he absolutely has to. That last governor. Taking more than I thought it would to take it down, but is going to go down. And now that leaves the battle cruisers and the frigates to fend for themselves against the torpedo bombers here. But now the contest comes in there. Peanuts bringing his ASF to bear. It'd be really nice if they still had a couple cruisers to fight over, especially some Seraphim cruisers, but we don't all get what we want. Erectatron is caught sleeping a little bit in the air, and that allows Peanuts to, I think, level the field here. Or at least do a lot better against Erectatron's air than he should have. So Peanuts actually with some pretty good airplay there, redeeming himself for earlier. And battle cruisers actually still looking like pretty healthy, except for this one, which if you dropped a napkin on the deck, I think it would sink into the ocean. So, you know, it's like you're on a ship and it's severely damaged and the captain just sneezes and the ship's like, that's it, I'm fucking out, we're going to the bottom, see y'all in the afterlife. As the battle cruiser goes forward and gets immediately pulverized by a single shell. Second one, Derp needs to move his frigates into support though, as the second one, now that there's two battleships here for Erectatron, is going to start causing some problems. And that second battle cruiser going to be able to take some units with it. Shield actually coming into range there for Derp just in the nick of time. Once again, we have our battle cruiser but to whisper away from death, and here comes that whisper, and now he has gone quietly into that good night. Actually, I don't know if it was quiet. I do like the sinking animations though. They're pretty cool. I love a lot about this game. Okay, so let's zoom out and take stock of where we're at. Northern Navy seems to be a little bit of a wash. I think Southern Navy could be won by Peanuts here. Although Peanuts has some issues going on his island, as Terminator has, I'm guessing, dropped all these mantis. I'm not seeing any factories. Eco-wise, Team 1 is up by some miracle. Considering that all the strats killed, I think, a combined like 20 or 30 Tech 2 mexes. That's a miracle, and I think it's only attributed to the fact that they just don't have an island. Alright, so mass favoring Team 1 slightly for the time being. It's 3v3, so we've had one player ejected from each side, and they're actually mirrors, so... well, basically mirrors. We got two kind of safe islands, and then one that is essentially a war zone for each team. Although I gotta say I favor Team 1's position, I think, at this point, just because Derp has control, or not control, but is contesting this island much heavier, really making Insane's life really hard. But I gotta give props to Insane for continuing to play on. I think I would have given up a while back. Well, speaking of giving up, I think that's what we're about to see, as Insane has decided to walk his commander in to Ravager and a ton of Tech 1 point defense fire. And Insane played a very good game. That game is, I believe, coming to an end as we see our third ejection from this game. Full share, I don't think is going to help out Team 2 actually a whole lot here, as that base is probably going to die in the very near future. We've even got, I think, Clink Hammers getting thrown up here by Derp. So definitely favoring Team 1, I think, in this situation right now. For the time being, at least. 37 minutes into the game. We're nowhere close to done, by the way. If you guys were curious. This could be... Well, there's not enough here. And there are SAMs in Derp space. So Derp gonna get tickled a little bit, but 19,000 HP and flayers in the base. It's gonna keep Derp relatively safe for the time being. Although what is gonna be a problem is the Galaxy battleships that are now shelling his base here. He doesn't have a whole lot of places to go either, because there's a ton of torpedo bombers here. I'm curious, does Erectotron... Alright, so Erectotron does have a read on the comm, but he doesn't know that it is the comm just yet. But Derp sets his toe in the water. These torpedo bombers, I think, are going to be all over him. And Erectotron actually winning here in the Navy. Taking a pretty good trade, I think, right now. The Riptides are... Actually, the Riptides are doing more than I thought they would. Because we have a quick pause from Peanuts. You had to run down to Texas Roadhouse and get some more peanuts. Y'all don't get that reference. It's a restaurant. Okay, so now they know. Now they know where the commander is. And it died to gunships, I believe. So that levels the playing field there to 2-2. And Team 1 lose their highest rated player in the form of Derp. And Navy looking to be in a pretty good spot here for Erectotron as well to push forward. Needs to deal with this base that is throwing Ravager fire at him, or just ignore it and go for Derp's Navy. There is a Summit class battleship out here for Derp. And Striker actually getting shield on his comm. First upgrade we've seen here for him today. But all these are shield boats. There's not a whole lot of offensive firepower here. We've got some governors and we've got some shield boats and a handful of frigates. And really the main firepower is here in this summit, which is now getting focused by Galaxy class battleships and torpedo bombers having their way with it as well. We have an Atlantis up though for Derp. Atlantis with good AA, although there are enough torpedo bombers here, I think, to one pass the Atlantis or get close, as Peanuts brings in his air. Erectotron with his ASF needs to react. There he goes. Also dangerous to have your Atlantis surfaced like that. I understand why you're doing it, because you want the AA. But these battleships, they hit hard. Atlantis with 40,000 HP. Wow, the Atlantis has less HP than a Galaxy class battleship. I didn't know that. But Striker actually finishing another. Jesus, that was fast. He's printing these things like they're going out of style, man. That's going to be 2 Atlantis. That's actually going to be pretty rough there for Erectotron to push into. But now we're starting to see some strats coming out from Erectotron here on the eastern side of the map. Keep our eye on that, as the Tech 1 naval yards formerly belonging to Derp are now going to get overrun by Erectotron's Navy, and then Peanuts' Navy going to come under threat next. And that's not going to be a good day, as Derp will have basically the only secure naval yards anymore at that point. Lots of sub-hunters, though, out from Peanuts. Sub-hunters are very strong units. If you're curious on how to counter them, my 2 cents would be torpedo bombers are pretty much the best way you can deal with them, outside of your own sub-hunters. A Striker finishes another Atlantis, so that makes 3 for him. And man, he is going for quality over quantity whenever it comes to units. No frigates, no destroyers, a couple of Coopers, a couple of governors, battleship, and Atlantis. That is wacky. As sub-hunters now deployed for Peanuts, he's brought back the sub-hunters that we saw on the southern side of the map. And Erectotron gonna have to figure out a way to deal with those. we said earlier, torpedo bombers, probably the best thing that he has at his disposal. As we also see strats coming in, those strats that we saw earlier, starting to go after some of the mexing options there for Peanuts. Peanuts scrambling some ASF this time to be able to get those taken out. And we actually have a ton of Volthus here. Not quite sure what Peanuts is going to do with those. But Erectatron's Navy properly routed by the sub-hunters there for Peanuts, although Peanuts going to lose a lot of his air and all of these Volthus. I'm getting a little triggered that Erectatron is not putting his stealth on his Gemini. But even without it, still trading pretty well. I don't think he's microing though. I think he's more focused on what is happening in the Navy, which is not pretty. First battleship's going to go down. Second one actually very soon to follow. These sub-hunters just absolutely evaporating these battleships. As now that he is, well, I was going to say he has air control, but I don't think he does. But now that he's in a better spot, I think, on air, needs to start focusing on some torpedo bombers en masse to deal with these sub-hunters. They're not very tanky, only 4,000 HP. They do not have a lot of HP. Looking to see if I can find a governor for reference. See, okay, so governors have 2,700, so a little bit tankier, a little bit more tanky than a governor. As the Atlantis starting to drive off Erectatron's assault, although Derp potentially in danger here of losing his Tech 3 HQ, which would not be good. As the Atlantis turn around, but they need to hurry. Derp actually scrambling to get some triads up to deal with it, but that Tech 3 HQ HP falling fast, and he's gonna lose it. And you gotta use it or lose it there, Striker. But oh my god, these sub-hunters. Every time I see them, I do genuinely like playing Navy. And I like playing Seraphim and Cybran Navy probably the most. And sub-hunters are chef's kiss beautiful. Very fun to use as well. They actually have good AA too. Like I'm saying that you should use torpedo bombers against them. Like they can actually surface and they can shoot back, and they have some pretty good AA on them. I don't remember the stats exactly, but I think it's like equivalent to a cruiser or maybe better. It's not an insignificant amount of AA. As torpedo bombers actually getting deployed here by Terminator to start dealing with these, and you can start seeing how much damage these things actually end up doing to the sub-hunters. You can see one nearly dead after a couple passes. Not a terrible way to deal with it. Alright, we got whalers actually up here as well for Erectatron. Erectatron playing a lot of various points of the map. Doing it pretty well too. Needs to figure out a way to get this though. If you could take this island, I think Erectatron's going to be a lot happier than where he is right now, only having half an island. It's like having to share an island with your significant other. If it was an island this size, wouldn't be that bad. I saw this really funny stand-up comedy routine. That's like one of the big things. That's like the only reason I have an Instagram account is for stand-up comedy and like dog videos and stuff, because I love dogs. But it was this dude, and he was like, you know, to all of you wives out there, men like you, and we don't want to be alone, but we also like don't want you there either. And he was like, so it's a fine line to make us happy, and it's completely unreasonable. And I was just like sitting there like, yep. That is kind of the way it is. Alright. Atlantis are surfaced, taking a lot of fire there from galaxies as they dive underwater now. That's good to see. No Barracudas, though, in this mix for Erectatron. So, gonna be difficult for him to fight these submerged aircraft carriers. The only things that he has that shoot torpedoes outside of these torpedo bombers. You can see them do their magic here on this first Atlantis. And look at that HP just evaporate off of that experimental. One pass was all it took. And now that's going to force him to surface them because he's going to lose them to the torpedoes, and then all of the deck guns on direct fire weapons, there we go, on Erectatron's Navy are able to just absolutely tear these Atlantis apart. And Peanuts actually was defeated. I did ask Stryker about this because I didn't see this whenever I reviewed the game. That was apparently like a weird like auto DC desync kind of thing where Peanuts just like instantly lagged out and didn't even get an opportunity to reconnect. So nothing interesting happened, but that does mean that we are now 1v2 and Stryker is running the entire show here. And he has the opportunity to kill Terminator, although Terminator actually has cloaking. So yeah. But that's going to be the last Atlantis down. Torpedo bombers really showing their strength here. Derp needs to get these, not Derp, Stryker needs to get these ASF involved here. So we're 47 minutes into the game, and before you ask, no, we're not almost done yet. Some of these torpedo bombers, though, venturing into enemy skies. As Derp's SAMs start to shoot him down. Even some of the ASF getting shot down as well. And Erectatron fully on the warpath here. There's a lot of summits here, though. That's 5 summits, 6 ones just now coming off of the battlefield to replace this one that's going to die here. And there's only 2 galaxies here. Lots of supporting ships, though. Summits do not have good fire rate. They actually have piss poor fire rate. I want to say it's like a minute fire cycle. It's absolutely nuts. And Terminator actually applying pressure now on this side. Rolled over what I think was a recently reclaimed base there for Stryker, and he's going to have to use his gunships to deal with that. But I think this is do or die here for Stryker up here in the north. These battleships need to hold. As Erectatron, I think, focusing down one at a time. Tons of reclaim back here as well for him to get from those Atlantis that got murdered by the ASF. Now you're starting to see the problems here with the summits. They have such slow firing cycles, and then they target like frigates with their barrage. Massive overkill. That's going to be another summit going down, although Stryker is actually building these summits almost as fast as he's losing them. And Terminator down here, I'm actually going to go to split screen here so we can watch both of these, because I think Terminator gonna lose some of his naval yards as well to the sub hunters there from Stryker. He's gonna lose his Tech 3 HQ. Stryker gonna lose. Got one heavily damaged battleship, one that's pretty heavily damaged, or one that's slightly damaged. That's going to be the Tech 3 HQ down and a Galaxy down there for Terminator there on the southern side of the map. You can see the stream of naval reinforcements as well coming in from Erectatron, as well as these engineers reclaiming those Atlantis wrecks. Erectatron shifting focus a little bit with his torpedo bombers down here, wants to deal with these sub-hunters but isn't going to be able to. We'll check back in on those guys in a second as go back here as Stryker going to lose another Tech 3 Naval HQ. So no more battleships for him. What you see is what you got. We got more battleships as well turning up here for Erectatron as a 4th one has now showed up. Now summits do win against galaxies. one-on-one. But Erectatron also with a lot of supporting craft. At summits have to use that long fire cycle to kill. And we actually got an air engagement as well down here between Erectatron and Striker, so Striker really having to play in a lot of different places at once. Well, same with Erectatron, I guess, but that's going to be the end of the Sub-Hunter push there, as Erectatron maintains air control, or at least is able to fend Striker off. And Striker are going to lose another battleship here. Erectatron with 4 battleships still, 2 of which have some veterancy on them. Erectatron needs to deal with these shield boats. These are probably what's causing him more problems than anything. That's added HP for him to go through, but Striker going to lose another battleship here. 3 left, 1 pretty heavily damaged. He is starting to get some destroyers out, so some supporting ships. But another summit going down to a watery grave here. Valiant's soon behind. Striker's going to find himself in trouble here in the Navy. As Erectatron now pushing down this way. Striker actually working on a lot of perimeter naval structures and going to work using this Tech 3 naval factory down here to actually make some more sub-hunters. But he has 3 of the Halthum class battleships out and ready to go. So even if he loses these, he hasn't lost all of his Tech 3 production. But he is going to lose potentially all of this reclaim and maybe his base. As another flight of torpedo bombers comes in from Erectatron, going after the last of the battleships there for Striker. Still got healthy battleships, relatively healthy at least for Erectatron. Curious if there's any like big stuff in the works. Okay, that's a pretty big thing. So you got a Scathus up here. That is a little over a quarter of the way done. And anything here? So you got SMD. As Strat's actually coming in once again from Erectatron, not getting anything really done. They were trying to go after the Tech 3 Air HQ, but Striker with no real endgame project on the cards just yet. He's got a little bit of mass to work with. He's keeping his head above water, but he is using all of his mass, and now he's throwing it all into frigates. So he has lost his HQ. Erectatron still not giving up this position either. And also starting to pressure down here towards the south. And going to get some destroyers into this bay. There are several clink hammers here, so he's going to have to be ready to sacrifice some of his Salem class destroyers. No point defense though, luckily. That would have been worse. I think that was an HQ that just went... No, that wasn't an HQ. That was just a regular Tech 1 land factory. But perimeter naval facilities going down. I don't know how Striker is still like even existing here. And he's got another Tech 3 HQ. What a mad lad. That's like his... It's like his 4th Tech 3 HQ that has died just in this engagement alone. Which, to be fair, this engagement has kind of lasted the last like 10 minutes or so. And we got a battle cruiser. Nope, another battleship out. I was going to say battle cruiser, but got another battleship out. Striker trying to get some of this reclaim too. Erectatron would do pretty well to just drop some engineers up here. Air HQ going to go down there for Striker, at least I believe it will, as we got a heavily damaged battleship here. The Halthum's now starting to make their way up from Peanuts' old base. That is a nuke out from here, actually. So we got a Liberator nuclear missile launcher. That SMD is unfortunately not loaded, so the Seraphim air grid is saying bye-bye to this world. And that's not great to hear if you're Striker's shoes, because he's still having to fight air, although he looks like he's about to win air against the Rectitron. We'll go ahead and watch this nuke go boom. All the fun little explosions. Doo-doo-doo. Boom. And it is a Cybran nuke, my favorite variety, with the singularity that rises from the ashes like a phoenix being reborn. So the Cybran Empire will continue. Nothing shall stop us. Alright, but now Striker's starting to spam out his own torpedo bombers. Erectotron with no air and also no cruisers here. This ain't looking good now for Erectotron. Even though he's got massive naval superiority here, it's all going to die because of these torpedo bombers, eventually. God, how much mass is here? 100,000. There's 100,000 reclaim here. Holy smokes. I'm curious, on this side, this northern side, we've got almost 200,000 mass on the map. How much total on the map? Oh, Striker going aggressive here in the air game with some strats. Levels a lot of Erectotron's air grid, so really adding insult to injury there. Crushing air and then leveling Erectotron's ability to, or at least severely crippling his ability to make more air. Did leave the HQ alive, but took out several supporting factories. And Erectotron's air actually, while that was happening, it was engaged up here trying to kill torpedo bombers over SAMs. So Erectotron, just the units are in kind of the wrong place at the wrong time. Although this is kind of cheeky. We have a couple of tier 1 subs that are taking out Strikers, some of Striker's supporting naval factories. But this is bad if you're Team 2, because you're getting ready to lose 112,000 reclaim. Striker's actually already on it with some engineers. He's got like all of his land factories just cranking engineers right now. That is going to be huge for our UEF player. He's actually power stalling. He can't even can't afford 750 mass per second apparently. Needs some more power. This didn't help though. This was a lot of his power. What is he down to? Okay, so he's down to just about 20,000 power, which for almost an hour into the game is actually not a ton. You burn through a lot of power whenever you have, you know, a couple of full air grids, shields. He's got mass converters. You could probably turn those off, or mass fabricators. Probably turn some of those off, but ultimately, Palthum's pushing up the southern channel. Got Valiant class destroyers as well as a couple battleships here from the UEF pushing down through the north, and that's gonna Erectotron's gonna have to think about which one of these navies he wants to take on, because I don't think he can take both of them on. My vote would be the southern one, but Striker's not going to allow him to make that decision here as Valiant class destroyers go steaming forward, eager to secure some more reclaim. Supported by the long-range artillery of the glorious-looking Summit class battleship. I do love the way the Galaxy looks. I mean, that's a pretty dope-looking ship, but I mean, come on. Mighty Mo. That has to be what the Summit was modeled after, was Mighty Mo. It's the USS Missouri, if you don't know what I'm talking about. It's a very regal-looking warship. As we seem to have some dissent in the ranks here, as Erectotron saying, "Why have you been producing no units?" And Terminator's like, "Because you're not defending Navy," which, you know, that kind of makes sense. Why aren't you making units? Because you're not defending your side. Solid logic in my book. But the torpedo bombers here from Stryker really starting to clean up here. A couple ASFs from Erectatron trying to do what they can. Stryker could actually just like move in and annihilate all these though pretty quickly. As on the southern side, Terminator has got himself a little proxy base here and is going to start pushing here. But the Scathus I noticed earlier, very nearly done. Just 200 HP left on that sucker, and I don't know if Stryker... He's got shields up, which is good. He's going for a Novax, actually. Okay. So if y'all have never played with Stryker before, this is like his favorite unit in the game. I think he nuts all over his screen every time he builds a Novax and sees it come online with the satellite come out. All-time favorite unit. I think he builds it like every game he gets an opportunity. I'm really surprised he waited an hour to build one. So we do have a Novax up. Obviously, Novax nowhere near as good as the Scathus. So we see that first Scathus start to open up on actually where the Novax is, I think. As Erectatron's Navy starting to get pushed back. And really getting pushed back on all fronts. He's almost had to fall back to his naval yards here. So that Scathus needs to do a lot of work, and it needs to do a lot of work pretty soon. And that's not where it needs to be shooting. It's firing at a couple of destroyers. These are but pawns in the larger game. Some support commanders even going pop. And Scathus has now been retargeted. Novax is on the move. Stryker actually started building a second one as well. And fully on the warpath with his Navy. And we haven't talked about this, but this base has been destroyed by Stryker as well. And now things have shifted definitely the other way here. Team 2, I think, is in dire straits now. This Scathus needs to pay huge dividends. As long as it stays alive long enough, I think it will. So start to see shields buckling and getting destroyed here. Power grid starting to take some damage. Next volley on the way. And you're starting to see gunships now being deployed to assist with the Navy. Torpedo bombers sent on a kamikaze mission. Novax now starting to go over Erectatron's base here. And okay, that Novax not dead, but definitely feeling very exposed. And air battle now getting kicked off here. Terminator not microing his air units. They're going to get absolutely annihilated here by Stryker's units. Even with the assistance from the Navy. That's going to be an air win there for Stryker. And doors open, I think, again for a big strat run if he wants to make it on the Scathus, because he needs to get rid of that thing and he needs to do it quickly, as his Novax is now fallen. That is a very sad day for our UEF player, who's now been properly blue-balled. Curious if does he know where it is? No, he doesn't even know about it yet. Does not know where it is yet, so probably no strat snipe, but Navy is going to start becoming a huge issue here. And actually in the south, we've got mass harms production starting for Terminator. That's going to be the way that he deals with this. But the battleships and the rest of the Navy there from Stryker just rolling through the naval yards here for Erectatron. And just, like, look at the map. Like, look at how much light blue there is. Like, there's a lot of light blue out there. Tech 3 naval yards starting to go down here. The few Galaxy-class battleships that he has are doing their best, but Now we see Erectatron in the exact same position that he had Striker in earlier, except he has far fewer resources and far fewer ships in order to hold the line here. As the Scathis is now retargeted once again for this space. I'm not exactly sure what the thought process is behind that. I don't think there's... Oh, well, there's some Tech 3 power there. I guess he's going to try and cripple power. How mobile is Striker's eco? Does he have any? I don't see any Rascoms out yet. Unless I'm missing a Quantum Gateway somewhere. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I am not seeing any support ACUs out. I'm seeing quite a few out from yellow of the RAS preset variety as these harms now starting to do what they can here. And I think Striker actually ground firing to kill off some of these things as they are quite pesky. But Navy now in range of Erectatron's air grid here, and strats out from Erectatron to try and kill off these battleships. And I'll put a pretty hefty chunk of damage into that battleship though. Even Terminator's commander here just hanging out with that torpedo upgrade and cloak. No care in the world. There are too many battleships here, I think, now for Striker. I don't really see how, with the Scathis firing this way, maybe go after this section next. But with the Scathis, I think, not really getting a whole lot done right now. I'm struggling to see how Team 2 can get back into this game. I still have the ability to make Tech 3 Navy. That's a good thing for both players, I believe. The harms are causing problems as we're an hour and 6 minutes into this game now. I think this game definitely qualifies to be an epic on my channel. Been a long time since I've done one of these. But battleships now starting to go down to the harms, of which there are several. By several, I mean 3. Because that's what qualifies for several in my pea-sized brain. I do like how Erectatron still has a little mass extractor up here, though. It's so cute. Just hanging out there in the cove, enjoying the beach. One advantage here that Erectatron does have is there's not really a whole lot of AA here for Striker. He's got battleships, which, I mean, they shoot in an upwards direction, but they don't have a whole lot of damage. This could actually be like a pretty good mass donation if he doesn't deal with these harms. You got a 4th harm up, 5th one now on the way. Striker not focusing on killing the harms before they're up. Okay, now he is. That guy's gonna sink down into the water. 6th one on the way here. Another battleship goes down there for Striker. Several of these battleships starting to get pretty heavily damaged here as well. And it's going to be another battleship going down. Reclaim here available for Terminator in the neighborhood of 70,000. Not quite the 115 or 112 or whatever it was that we saw earlier, but definitely not anything to sneeze at. I want to get a network of land factories up as we have another strat run taking out some of the shields there in Erectatron's base, now leaving it open to get shelled by battleships, and it's getting harder and harder here as Erectatron about to lose his naval HQ. And up it goes. So Erectatron, the only way he can fight now is in the air. Although he does have quite a few ASF. Terminator has a few as well. And Terminator's harms down here really causing Striker to take some pretty serious attrition on his units. But I think with this number of battleships, he's going to start just brute forcing it and trying to ground fire these harms as much as he can. Probably not without some pretty heavy losses on his battleships. As Erectatron respectfully asking Striker to concede the game because it's pretty obvious that Team 2 has this in the bag. Alright, we got another battleship about to go down here. It makes like 6 or 7 that these harms have killed. All of these harms getting pretty damn good value here. But Tech 3 HQ now for Terminator under threat. He's going to lose his last battleship. And Scath is now targeting up here to go after actually the mass Riptide spam. I didn't even see this. As Riptides and battleships have properly torn Erectatron's base apart. And with that, Erectatron is actually going to bow out of the game, leaving Terminator as the only representative here for team number 2. Proper 1v1 action if you load into the game and your opponent has 5 times the infrastructure, or kind of more than that, more like 20 times the infrastructure. We do have a Soul Ripper here, though. And Soul Ripper, oh, we got some battleships getting taken out by the Soul Ripper, but again, just so many battleships out here for Striker. Although he's taking so much damage from arms. As Derp saying 1v1 now, boys, get sweaty. I'm sweaty just watching this game. Like, yeah, I got a Dry Fit shirt on. But Soul Ripper gonna go down. It has absolutely deplorable AA to these ASF as soon as the ASF decide to go after the target. Terminator built another experimental unit. That's gonna be a Monkey Lord, actually. And this is what Terminator can call home right now. I don't even think Striker is really concerned with the Scathus, which is actually shifted over to attacking the naval yards. Monkey Lord there from Terminator going to be able to clean up these Riptides, no problemo. That combined with the RAS presets. So Striker really just needs to get through these harms. And then I think he wins the game, although there's more down here. Jesus. He's also got to find the commander, which is cloaked. So while Striker ends this game, to the few of you that have made it through this fucking marathon, is this the longest cast I've ever done? No, I think there was one that was like an hour and 40 minutes or something like that I did. I'll have to go back and look, but that one was crazy. It was like it was a 3v3v3v3, so 4 teams of 3 on a map that was actually not very dissimilar to this in kind of layout. It was 4 islands, very Navy-centric. I won't give away too much of the cast. I'll let you guys go watch it yourselves, but that was a pretty wacky game too. Harm's finally starting to go down. I'm going to speed this up because if there is a way out here for Terminator, I am not seeing it. Actually, Terminator walking his commander forward to reclaim. Oh, just use his torpedoes. The harms are nuts. Battleship's gonna die, just the harms. All these other units gonna get wiped off the face of the map. Soul Ripper actually being brought in. Look at how fast that thing dies. 51,000 HP, up in smoke. All right, I think he's finally ground firing the harms properly now. And he's got Riptide starting to make it their way in. Monkey Lord obviously has died. Nope, it was over here. It was in the wrong spot, wrong time. Rascom's gonna be able to get that wiped out though. I mean, for what it's worth, as Striker continues to play with his food, I think at this point. He doesn't even really care if there's a Scathus out there. Commander here for Terminator still just... Okay, now we're reclaiming with the comm. Good, good. A little bit of reclaim and you'll be back into this game. The Striker built another Novax. Okay, very good. At least Striker finished with his signature unit. At least I'm assuming he's going to finish it this way. Trying to build another bug. That is not going to happen, buddy. Battleship's absolutely destroying it. Actually, I have a bunch of Barracudas up here that are actually, like, doing some pretty good damage here. Current objectives survive. I appreciate the Halo reference there. Derp. As Terminator throws out the GG. Hour and 17 minutes into this game. The harms have finally gone down. The Scathus is going to go down next. To battleships in combination with the Novax and the Governors coming in behind it. That is when Terminator is gonna bow out. 1 hour, 17 minutes, 38 seconds. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. This one was a lot of fun. Thank you very much for Striker to Striker for sending me this cast. If you guys have any videos that you want me to cast, or any games that you want me to cast, be they full share, no share, ladder matches, high ranked, low ranked, whatever it is, either send them my way, or if you want a higher chance of them getting casted, please drop them in the Fortune Alliance Forever replay section of the channel. My handle is down in the description below on Discord. You can add me as a friend. It's the Duelist hashtag. I think it's 5055 or 5505, one of the two. So feel free to add me on Discord. You can send me replays. You can add me as a friend as well. And yeah, if you see me playing, feel free to reach out. And yeah, we'll get you into some games. So with that, thank you all so much for watching. I will see you all in the next one. Peace.